Hey, it's Josh. This one's gonna be explicit.
I just wanted to say how happy I am that you're here.
In a world where trivia games are played on a podcast, one man reigns supreme and chooses the movie. While the loser must face his punishment episode.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
This is Punishment Spoilers.
Charlotte Gainsbourg takes a note from Uncle Joey from Full House and cuts it out. This is spoilers. Josh has no context.
Got real dark there
for what we're talking about because he didn't watch.
Josh, you didn't watch that?
Okay, so this is the first time I've done this on spoilers, but I'm going to be an objective observer. I served enough of a punishment, I think, on our Salo or 120 Days of Sodom pod very, very recently. And I was going to sit this one out, but I thought I deserved to be here and listen to Mikey wiggle through this. This is Josh from Goshen, if we're already on that stuff.
Yeah, we'll just start off with that because it's only going to go downhill from there. Why don't we, while we all still have jobs, we'll just go around and say where we're recording from. Josh went. Who's next closest? Probably you, Stevie.
Yeah, this is Stevie recording from Elkhart, Indiana. My bad, Mikey. I kind of wish I would have given you like a cheesy 80s movie or like maybe Ben-Hur. I don't know.
Maybe a Rambo sequel.
Maybe.
Some Dove.
Yeah.
Did you choose this or did Pappy
maybe
choose
Rocky
this?
5. I chose this.
Why?
Well, Brett kind of chose it for me when he interrupted me. When he said it ahead of me.
And he's not even here.
People don't forget.
Can you explain, Stevie, what did you win so that you could dole this punishment out? Because that is very important.
What did I win? Oh, I was the Lord of the Ring.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I just remember this movie being hard to watch when I was in college. And I totally forgot about certain parts of this movie. I totally forgot I opened up like an erotic K Jewelers commercial. I don't know. It was terrible.
An even more erotic K Jewelers commercial.
I really thought K was going to come up.
That voice you heard there was Corey. Corey, what'd you think of this movie and where are you recording from?
Hi, this is Corey, also known as Kylo Ren Memes, recording out of Simi Valley, California. It was good and boring at times. So
you thought it was
I
good.
didn't hate it, but parts of it were good. Parts of it had me interested and captivated, some more than others. It's not as funny as 120 Days of Sodom. It takes itself a lot more seriously, so it's a totally different thing, but it has some pretty hardcore shit like that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh is going to miss all of the comedy in Antichrist that that we all got to witness. Yeah.
I'm shocked you're calling 120 Days of Sodom funny, though. I thought we agreed that was not cool.
But there were parts that were kind of funny.
Don't get any of that in this movie?
No. No one eats shit in this movie.
Josh, did you give Sodom a yes or a no?
Gave it a no.
Gave it a no because not enough laughs, or
I think he got enough laughs. That wasn't the problem.
There were not enough laughs.
Well, thankfully, this movie I don't think is nearly as bad as 120 Days. Josh, I think you got the short end of the stick with that punishment movie. Also, this movie is luckily broken up into, I think, about 4 or 5 smallish chapters. This movie isn't very long. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes. But I guess I'll take take this tough scene first. We start off with the opening scene. Start off with a bang, quite literally. Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg are in the midst of lovemaking, we'll just say. And we get some pretty graphic scenes here.
They make that very apparent.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, I guess like on last episode, Pappy really dove deep and wanted to know if they like showed penetration, which they did not in 120 Days of Sodom.
They showed it in
yeah.
this one.
Huh?
Like in the first 5 seconds. It's right. I mean, it's probably the biggest shot of the whole movie. It takes up the whole screen.
Yeah. The beginning of this, there's a lot of slow motion. It's very artistic. It's black and white.
Every kiss begins with K.
There's opera music playing, and then boom, full penetration.
Is it really Willem?
I think it is.
It's so
I don't
close
think
up.
so.
It's hard to
I
say.
don't think so. It can't be, because they would be literally having sex. I don't think that would fly on set.
That's what his sequel was, Nymphomaniac.
I heard that about that movie.
They were all actually doing it.
They were all
Yeah.
actually doing it in Nymphomaniac?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's...
Shia LaBeouf was up in there?
He was all up in that.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Oh, damn.
that's not even the most interesting part of the movie. Because while this is simultaneously happening, there's a small baby walking around this spooky black and white mansion apartment or whatever, and he's a man on a mission. Stevie, what does he do?
Cue the Clapton. All right. Anyway, yeah, this is really like horrible and tough to watch. Like I said, it's like an erotic K. Jewelers thriller. So they're going from the shower to like a desk to the bed. Willem Dafoe and his old lady are, and they're really getting after it.
Totally unaware of their surroundings, just lost in lust.
And also, they like turned off the baby monitor they have on silent. The baby escapes his crib, pushes a chair across the room onto a desk, opens a window, and then jumps out of said window like he was a man on a mission.
It's like Baby's Day Out without like all the Mr. Magoo like luck that the baby had.
There was no Joe Mantegna in this.
Yeah, he doesn't land on a trampoline at the bottom and bounce across the street.
There was no gorilla to save him.
There's no awnings, like a series of awnings to bounce off of.
Yeah, no. This is just he probably jumps out of a 4-story building?
Yeah,
Yeah, looks like
it
it.
takes a little.
Is it like in Chucky when she falls out of the window? Child's Play?
Chucky.
Well, this is slow motion, and it's not like they just like show him like it's not like they leave it on the window and he jumps. They follow him the whole way down. Like they don't like leave it to the imagination of, oh man, he just fell. It's like, oh, he's falling. More slow motion. Cut back to Willem Dafoe thrusting more. Cut back to falling. They really.
It's
Yeah.
all very surreal and probably way too over-directed, I would imagine. I don't think it looks that great. Corey, you thought the movie looked good? Did you like the way this opening scene looked?
Yeah, I think it had some artistic merit. At least it was. At least it was pushing that. You know, it was.
You don't. It's
The-
a
the
little
me-
busy, I think. Don't you think? I mean, there's a lot going on.
Well, I mean, isn't being like lost in the throes of lust busy in itself?
Yeah, but there's like this dramatic classical music going on in the background. Everything's in black and white.
Why did they show the dryer going? What was the purpose of showing the dryer?
Random scenes of stuff happening throughout the house. A balloon floating by with a toy attached to it. Just a lot of overly artsy cutaways and stuff, I feel like. And it's really just about these two people banging and this baby not being watched. And there's all of this art stuff going on.
What's the point of it? I guess what I'm picking up is like sex is going to be ruined for those two people because
Oh,
of this?
no.
No. Okay.
No.
never mind.
Well, sort
Way
of.
off.
It gets different.
The feeling I got is like it makes it so much worse that like they're doing this, like carnal, self-indulgent thing, not paying attention while this happens. Like the baby thing is bad enough, but the fact that they're banging while it happens just makes it so much worse, it seems like. And that they muted the baby monitor. What the? I didn't know those. I mean, I haven't had it.
Also, this
Kid that
baby was
little for a
making a
while.
ruckus. How did they not hear? It's not like he was like tiptoeing around the
Yeah,
house
he's-
like the Grinch.
I mean, I guess
he was
Dragging
making
that
a
wooden
ruckus.
chair across another wooden floor. That thing's
Knocking
gotta be
off
squeaking.
statues off desks left and right.
to jump ahead, I mean, the woman does actually know about this. It turns out later at the end, right? We see her like mental
Yeah.
flashback.
Yeah, I guess that's the real spoiler, is that inherently she knew the whole time that this baby was on his way towards the window and didn't do anything about it because she was just... there's a whole thing later on about she thinks that inherently all women are evil.
Okay,
or
so I had
something.
like a serious something like come up during this movie. She knew about the baby?
Yeah,
Is it her baby?
yeah.
Yeah, it's her and
Whose
Willem
baby would it
Dafoe's
be,
baby.
Josh?
This is a happy family up until this point. The very first minute of the movie, it's a happy family. And then
Yeah.
from then on, it's
Too happy.
after that. I mean, we learn that Willem Dafoe is a therapist, and Charlotte Gainsbourg's character is now like crippled with grief. She can't really do much, and she has to like stay in the hospital for about like a month after this death of this baby. So during that time, Defoe is like doing his best to like take care of his wife, and it's not really doing much, and she's just kind of like spiraling downwards. So they decide that she needs exposure therapy. So Stevie, what is the plan?
So is this where he like hypnotizes her to Eden?
Dude, I don't know
It's like
what's
when they're on
going
the train,
man.
he like starts like hypnotizing her.
There's a lot of weird artsy stuff going
don't-
on, and a lot of
like-
bad transitions that are I'm not supposed to know if they're like dreams or mental episodes in somebody's head. I'm not even sure whose perspective this movie is from.
Yeah, I have no idea. This is, I mean, I know they want to go to Eden, which is this horrifying cabin in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, I know he's playing therapist the whole time. It's just very strange, Mikey. I have no idea what's going on in any scene.
Corey, do you know?
Like, I have no help on this. Like,
Well, we're in chapter 1, which is called Grief. It's like 120 Days of Sodom, Josh. They got like these chapters. And in Grief, she's, after the death and the funeral, she's very sad, and she's...
Circle of Mania.
Yeah, there's a lot of crying. There's Willem Dafoe trying to figure out the best way for them to move forward, and he's a therapist, and he's trying to figure out what she's most afraid of so that they can go and face her fears, which will help her get over the grief, I think. And Eden, the place that they've been talking about, is, I guess, like the cabin area and the woods area, and it turns out that area is what she's most afraid of for some reason. So they go there so she can, like, face her fears.
Yeah, but the way they describe stuff, I mean, we get a lot of imagery that's like, oh, is this part of someone's imagination? I mean, there's people that are like highlighted in all white. Everything's like pretty gray. I don't know. Willem Dafoe sees a lot of weird imagery with a deer like giving birth, and it's like the baby deer is dead. I don't know, man. It's supposed to be super artsy, and there's just like a lot of disturbing imagery, and you're just supposed to interpret stuff, and it's all pretty boring to me. Josh, you got any questions?
Yeah,
so
there's a
who's
lot
the
of like
Antichrist?
mysterious like interpretation. Like what is the meaning of this? One thing they say, because they're out there in the woods, is nature is Satan's church. So I think you're supposed to be like looking for that everywhere in the woods.
like with that deer giving birth when it's running away.
Yeah, there's
but
the deer. There's 3 animals, right?
Yeah, there's a deer, there's a raven or a crow and a
fox.
fox. Yeah. And they all kind of come up at different points throughout the story. I don't know if I need to explain anything else in chapter 1. They end up getting to the cabin, and of course it's like creepy and stuff. And
I have a question.
all right, shoot.
Who's the Antichrist?
See, that would actually make the movie interesting if that was part of it, but it's really not.
I thought
it's not part of the movie at all.
Doesn't a kid named Damien and like there needs to be like a lamb sacrifice? Like this isn't the typical Antichrist story.
I wish we watched The
trope
Omen.
that I've known.
There's not a story, Josh.
Okay.
There's not a story.
Whoa, sorry.
A kid falls out a window, and then we see really weird imagery for the next hour and a half.
He pretty much
Look, the Antichrist is the woman.
The Antichrist is this attempted screenplay.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Look, I only say that because in the poster or like in the Amazon thing, the T in Christ is like the female symbol. So,
spoiler. But yeah, it's pretty much just the baby dies, and then it's Willem Dafoe playing Doctor in the Woods very poorly for like the next hour and 20 minutes. That I don't know if there's anything else left in chapter 1, so I'm just gonna go to chapter 2, which is called Pain.
Is this where she turns evil?
I don't think so yet. I mean, she's just weird. She's just weird for most of this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know, her attempt to like get over this grief or to deal with it is to just try and bang Willem Dafoe for the whole movie. And he's kind of really reluctant to do that, even though it's probably awesome. She's just, her emotions are kind of all over the place, and she's really kind of losing it. I don't know why they're not in a hospital. She's not taking any meds or anything. They like made a point to show that she's flushed her meds down the toilet. She's pretty manic. And I don't know, I mean, the synopsis on chapter 2 is pretty short. There's pretty much just that stuff, and then Willem Dafoe finds himself out in the middle of a meadow and finds the fox, which looks to be like eating itself.
can talk.
Yeah. And what does he say, Corey?
Chaos reigns.
Classic. Whatever that means. Josh, you got any?
That's like Willem Dafoe's reaction too. He's like, "Huh, whatever that means," and like walks away. It's like, all right, that was cool, I guess.
Chaos reigns.
Is this movie like an analogy to like 18th century Russian politics or something like that? Or is there anything deeper? Is it just like a bunch of weird imagery?
I
mean,
don't know.
Acorns hit a roof, and Willem Dafoe's hand ends up swollen. You tell me, Josh. I have no idea.
I think
I'm so glad I didn't watch this.
Obviously, the swollen hand is a reference to the 1980s character Donkey Kong, who has very large hands.
Obvious reference. How could I miss it?
honestly, I'm looking at the Wikipedia like rundown of the plot, and I don't know if it's supposed to even Lars von Trier is supposed to be saying something, but also for a lot of this movie, I guess he was like battling depression. So I'm wondering if it was just more of a personal thing he was working through, and it's kind of just like only for him to understand, or if he is trying to say a deeper message here. But what I am seeing doesn't make any sense.
I think there's more meaning in chapter 3, right? I mean, more so than the others. Chapter 3 is called Despair. And Genocide?
Genocide?
That's the name of the book she's writing, is that right?
Yeah, I guess we learned that she's a researcher or a historian or something, or she's doing a thesis, and ultimately her thesis is attempting to portray all women as inherently evil. And I guess that's that would be the takeaway message from this movie that Lars von Trier is trying to say. I guess. I don't know, really. That seems kind of...
That's a tad
It
misogynistic.
seems a little out there. I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to that? I don't know what he's trying to say with this chapter.
Is it like in a biblical way, like Adam and Eve, like Eve ate the apple sort of thing?
I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a part of it for sure.
they go through like a lot of imagery and like old books and stuff that are like alluding to kind of like Satanistic rituals and stuff and all of that, but nothing ever really comes of it. I'm not going to say outright there's like Satanistic stuff in this because we don't really see any rituals or anything like that going on. She just kind of like loses her mind. I don't know. This is terrible, Stevie. What is there anything else?
It's a punishment movie.
But there's like nothing happening. It's a lot of people just sitting around in a cabin.
There's a lot that happens in the last act, all right?
Well, we're on chapter
There's a
3
lot
and
that
it's been
happens.
20 minutes.
She wants to get slapped during sex.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and she also wants to cause her son to have some kind of foot deformity. There's a whole thing, Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey,
but that doesn't
what's your,
mean anything
What's your
in the
theory
end.
on the shoes being
None of it comes
backwards?
back to mean anything in the end.
If he had better feet, he wouldn't have fell.
If he had
He
better
wouldn't
feet.
have lost his footing on the snowy ledge.
If he was thinking, he wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, I guess we learned in an autopsy report, somehow his tiny feet didn't break on the fall. And we find out that both of his feet are like pointed outwards because the mom put on his shoes backwards every day. And I guess that's supposed to mean something. That's her inherently evil motherly side coming out, I guess. And as Stevie says, that's ultimately why this baby dies. Not because he opens the window and falls out of it, but because he has bad feet and he
Because he has bad feet.
falls out the window.
If she would have put on his shoes normally, he would have had better grip. Just would have watched the snow fall. That's
So,
all.
like, she somehow subconsciously caused and allowed her son to fall out a window. Is that
She
kind of
didn't
what...
do it
Subconsciously
subconsciously.
and
She watched
consciously.
that baby fall out the window
She watched her. Yeah, she watched him go.
while she was getting railed.
Yeah.
That's quite the kink.
Well, get ready, buddy, because it's only going up from there.
It gets worse.
I've just been having a lot of crazy dreams.
Dreams are of no interest in modern psychology.
What's after the boot stuff? Well, she tries to bang Willem Dafoe again, and they're in a shed, and he's like refusing, and she ends up smashing his donger with a block of wood, and that apparently knocks him out unconscious.
From the pain alone.
I mean, I'm
he's
sure it would
out.
hurt, but it's just a hilarious imagery of him getting hit in the penis and then going
think-
out cold.
I don't think one's brain could register like your loved one taking a log and throwing it down on your erect penis like it's a cockroach in the middle of the night.
Oh.
Like
She hits him hard with a log.
it's like like a cockroach in the middle of the floor in the middle of the night, Josh, like throwing it down.
Okay, but how much do you see his wiener in this movie? My goodness.
You see his full penis after this.
Erect.
Because she jerks him off, and
She jerks him off, and then he doesn't ejaculate semen. He ejaculates
it's
blood.
just blood.
Yep. It's a whole to-do.
And then this is where I guess she really loses. I mean, there's no turning back now. She's not gonna get over this one, fellas. They're like in a workshop or something, like a wood shop, and there's like this grindstone that she disassembles, and then she ends up drilling a hole in Willem Dafoe's leg and putting this grindstone, and then like fastening it to his leg, and then throwing away the wrench. So he's got this giant weight attached to his leg now. And he's unconscious the whole time. and she's going to hide this wrench, so she walks outside and tosses it underneath the cabin. And
She
then
like bolts it on him, so he can't just like take this thing off. He's like got to crawl around.
Yeah,
for, like,
it's bolted to his leg.
he wakes up and starts dragging himself away. And he drags himself in like the middle of the woods. And Corey, where does he hide?
He goes to hide in like this like little foxhole that they've been kind of showing throughout the movie when they've been going outside to the woods. He like crawls in there, and there's something in there. He lights a match and he like starts unburying it, and we find out that it's the crow that we've been seeing here and there. Like we mentioned before, there's like 3 animals that pop up throughout. The crow is one of them, and kind of starts like squawking at him and revealing his position. So he just starts bashing it repeatedly with a rock. He really not taking his advice from Lighthouse. You never kill a seabird. But yeah, he just starts bashing it with a rock, and she finds him because of all the squawking. This is the strongest crow ever. It doesn't die.
Mm-hmm. You got a very tough brain. And the crow doesn't die, and he's making a bunch of noise, and she doesn't have a character name. She just goes by she in this movie, but she's walking around in the woods looking for Willem Dafoe's character. And she ends up hearing the bird just losing it in this foxhole. And she finds Dafoe, and she just kind of, what is she? She kind of traps him in there. She's trying to dig him out, and he's not getting out.
She kind of just buries him.
Kind of just buries him. He's got this giant weight attached to his leg. He's kind of in a pretty bad spot.
Ooh, like the lighthouse?
Kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. And then he kind of just stays in there for a couple hours, and then she digs him up later. And then it's chapter 4.
Like the lighthouse.
Yeah, like my thoughts when I was watching the scene exactly. I was like, this is like the Lighthouse, but way worse.
But way worse.
And now it's chapter 4. This chapter is called The Three Beggars. Like Corey said, the 3 beggars are the crow, the fox, and this deer. Charlotte Gainsbourg, she makes she says something to the effect of like, when all 3 of the 3 beggars are here, one of us, somebody has to die or something. And so during this confrontation, when they're back in the house, again, I don't know what's going on before stuff starts popping off, but it's kind of just a lot of slow talking that's not really like very interesting dialogue or anything.
Is she a witch?
I don't know what this is supposed to mean at all. I don't know. You chose this movie. I assumed you knew what was happening.
Mikey, I gave you this assignment. Figured you'd study.
I don't know how to interpret it. I don't think it is supposed to.
I mean, one minute she's on the ground quivering, the next minute she's outside the cabin screaming at Hale. I don't know.
She's masturbating a lot too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. She's
jerking off.
Does she? With Willem Dafoe's knocked out hand.
Yeah, they're both like laying down
That was
on the
weird.
ground.
I thought he was dead. I was like, this is odd.
I'm sure he wishes he was dead. And then she makes the bold decision of taking a pair of scissors and doing a little. Right here, IMDb says clitoridectomy upon herself. And I'm sure using context clues you can use.
No. Say it.
She cuts off her wiener, and then she's just kind of like writhing on the ground in pain, and then she's walking in and out of the house for like the next 5 minutes. There's not even like much going on. She's just kind of like in various parts of the cabin, just losing her stuff. Willem Dafoe is of course on the ground, like, what the fuck is going on?
Is he dead from getting his wiener bashed in? He lives through that?
No, he lives.
Unfortunately lives through that. I think he ends up getting this giant grindstone off of his leg. He somehow figures out that the wrench is like directly underneath him in the cabin, and smashes a floorboard and picks up the wrench from there, and then releases himself.
It's like the crow was leading him to it, you know? The crow is squawking right near it. So it kind of directs his attention there, and that's how he finds it.
Yep. That all makes perfect sense within the context of whatever else is happening. All the other weird stuff happening in the movie. That all makes perfect sense.
What's the deal with all these wacky animals? Is it like Dr. Seuss book or something?
Dude, I don't know.
Dr. Doolittle, man.
It's supposed to be imagery for something. I don't know what Lars von Trier is going through during this time in his life. It all means something to him.
Depression.
Who hurt you, man?
Heavy depression.
It's all very important to Lars von Trier. And then what happens? He gets out of this grindstone business.
He kills Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Yeah, he chokes her. I don't know why she doesn't fight back. She really just kind of just lets him choke her to death, and then she dies. And then he takes her out on this giant bonfire thing that they had set up at the cabin, and he just burns her body. And then he takes off in the woods, probably starting a humongous forest fire, because this fire that he started was massive. And then he limps away out into the forest. And then we get an epilogue, which I don't know if is supposed to explain anything. Stevie, did you see the epilogue, and what was your interpretation of it?
When it goes to black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we start like we end. We go to black and white. And then you see all these old-timey women just walking towards Willem Dafoe.
Well, he did eat some berries.
And what's
he
that?
He did eat some berries. I don't know if that's important. Like, we're supposed to assume that these are poisonous berries, or he's...
I figured those were just more witches coming to kill him. I figured he was living in witch eternity hell. I have no idea.
Maybe it's related to, like, what she was writing about, because her book was about how, like, men have, like, abused and killed women over the years, but her conclusion on that was that women were complicit and they wanted it or something like that. So maybe it's like all the women of old who have been wronged but actually were willing participants in the way that she was with her own destruction.
Who's the hero in this movie?
Who's the Jesus character?
Who is the Jesus-like character?
The baby.
It had to be the baby.
I loved before the pod when Stevie was like, yeah, pretty sure the baby knew what he was doing. He was trying to off himself. He'd had enough.
I think he knew what he was doing.
Well,
just on a mission.
Okay, well, we should try and find the scene. The baby does look directly at the camera. Does a weird turn and look at the camera. Smirk. As if he's up to something.
He does a Joker smile.
Yeah. It's pretty meta. I don't know why he looks right at us.
He flashes a peace sign and then he dives.
Yeah.
His last words were, catch you on the flip side, and he hops out.
It's a real Boondock Saints situation.
But that's...
Aim for the bushes. Bam.
That's pretty much it after what Stevie said there. There's not much. Yeah, it's just a bunch of women walking up the hill to where Willem Dafoe was walking down. And it's just pretty surreal imagery, and it's all in black and white, and I guess we're just supposed to interpret 90% of this movie in our own head, because God knows Lars von Trier didn't give us enough context on his own.
He's an auteur, okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to explain himself to you.
I'm sure some of these scenes mean a whole lot to him, though. I wish I could connect to him more.
Josh, you have any questions about what you've heard here tonight? Do you think you would go back and watch Antichrist?
No, I'm good on that. You know, if you guys want to show any screenshots to the group thread, and then maybe I can put them on Instagram. I think it would be a funny one, like with Willem Dafoe, with just like the biggest blur ever through his midsection because his wiener's so big. Probably, I don't know.
We could probably get away with posting his butt. His butt makes a pretty big cameo.
In 120 Days of Sodom, there's a little bit of message about how, like, excess can get taken to an extreme, and there's like a little bit of class warfare sort of stuff happening. But we still didn't think it was really worth all the pornography and gore to get there. It just seems devastating that there's no discernible even lesson in this that I can even ask, was it worth it to get there? Because, like, where are you getting? You're not getting to anywhere, right?
I think there's probably someone that's going to listen, that's going to like understand this movie fully, unlike us, and like feel real ashamed of us. Maybe it's super obvious, we just don't see it. I mean, I think it's human nature, right? That's the...
To that person who's like angry at me, my dog, she's probably 11 weeks now, little pug, literally took a human-sized dump on my brand new rug. This was the most immaculate looking thing I've ever seen come out of such a small body. It was terrifying.
It's like Bono size.
Dude, it was... I should have taken a picture and sent it in for record books. I mean, massive. And that's why I was like, wait a minute, she knew her baby was jumping? There was a whole lot I missed. So I'm sorry, but that was the event that went down.
I am just wondering if, like, the whole reason this movie is, like, regarded is for the shock of, like, all the sexual violence or something. But if that's the case, then I would have rather have watched Hostel or something, because at least I know what I'm getting into. But with this, it's like, he's obviously trying to give me some deeper meaning to all of this or something. I don't know what it could possibly be, and I hope it's not the women are inherently evil thing, because that seems pretty fucked up.
That seems kind of like the message of this movie.
That's what I'm kind of taking away. I don't know if it could possibly be anything else other than that, but it's a pretty bad movie. And it's like he's trying so hard to circumvent just saying it out loud or something by using all of this artistic imagery and making it seem supernatural when really it's not, because we don't really get any sort of like supernatural stuff, I guess. I don't know what he's trying to do here, and I don't know what the message is. So if it's like sexual violence or something, there's way more movies out there to find that kind of stuff, I guess.
Lars, write in, send us an email. Yeah. Tell us what's going on here.
He'd probably be so angry listening to this right now. You fools!
I'm reading here in the wiki that they rewrote this after it was written once because the writer, like the main revelation that, quote, the earth was created by Satan and not by God was like leaked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that. That sounded interesting.
But then he totally rewrote it from there. So I don't think that's like the takeaway.
Yeah, it's not anything like that at all. It's nothing like that. So, in terms of if you wanted a clear understanding of the plot or anything of this movie, you're not going to find it here. I'm sorry.
No, this is pretty surface level stuff, people.
So much for my Stevie question.
What is it? What question you got?
What the fuck was this movie about?
Got me, friend. I have no idea.
Is Willem Dafoe like brave?
Like the Disney movie?
I mean, he's hanging dong and he's got his ass hanging out. I don't even think he does a great job in this movie. It's not, I don't know. I mean,
it's not like The Lighthouse or anything.
I just find...
Besides, like, the black and white scenes.
And the dialogue isn't all that great either, guys. I mean, there's like 5 minutes of absolute crazy batshit stuff happening, and then the rest is really boring.
I don't know. I was kind of engaged while watching it, because, I was very interested to see what it was going to lead up to. And what it led up to was just like insanity, torture porn style shit, which, is fine, but I thought it was going to, I don't know. I thought I would understand things more clearly, but I was pretty engaged while watching it, I'd say.
Oh yeah, I found the baby picture of the smirk. Here we go, Josh. Clear indication of smirk.
Is it the Antichrist baby from Passion?
No. Same.
Oh, dude, no! This is that look that girl gives when she has like a
The fire.
gasoline, and yeah, she's like looking at the fire she started.
Yeah, this is the exact same energy.
Yeah, that baby knew what was going down.
Between the Pappy baby from Passion of the Christ and this baby, same energy.
You see your parents screwing that hard, there's no point of going on.
No. Any final comments? We can give some yes or no's. Corey, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna give it a no.
Dog?
No dog. Look, it's hard to articulate this. I could see how it's worth watching and someone would enjoy it if they are like maybe like some kind of film major that's like studying like religious philosophy or
Symbolism.
I don't. Yeah. What's the symbology here? To quote Willem Dafoe in Boondock Saints, I don't quite know. Maybe it's just because I don't get it. You know. It's a no. There's some pretty intense things that happen that I thought were interesting to watch. Maybe unnerving, but still interesting to watch. But that wasn't quite enough to salvage it. It was okay, but it's still going to be a no.
All right. Stevie?
Hardest of no's. Hardest of no's. I will never watch this movie again. Like, there were times where like you're just watching the screen and literally nothing happens. And nothing is a payoff. And like I didn't like to watch a baby like willfully have an agenda in the beginning and jump out that window. So yeah, hard no.
Well, no offense, and I didn't see the movie, so I don't know, but will you be revisiting any of these particular scenes on like RedTube or anything?
They're not even good enough to jerk off to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even.
No, dude.
There's got to be.
It's
the
not
least
that kind of
erotic
movie
I've
either.
ever seen.
It's not. It's not even
No.
that kind of movie either. It's not that good. I mean,
Yeah, there's not a lot of high-end production in those scenes. So yeah, no.
yeah. So it's just up to me, Josh. I mean, do you want to give a yes or no based on what you heard here?
No, I don't want to give it anything.
You don't. Do you want to give any fan theories, Josh, for not having seen it? Fan theories?
Let me think about it for a second while Mikey goes here.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll just echo what you guys have said. Either I'm like an idiot and don't understand what I'm watching, or Lars von Trier is like no better than a student film project. I don't know. Corey made a good point. Is like, this seems a lot like a student film project or something. Just with how hard pressed he was to like symbolize all of this Christianity stuff, all of this sexual violence stuff. Nature is a huge part of this, which is, I guess, inherently evil in this movie, which we're supposed to interpret from stuff being said. I don't know. The dialogue doesn't make any sense to me. Like Stevie said, there's a lot of points in the movie where not much is happening. It's
real fun for the whole family.
Yeah, it's just really boring until you get to these crazy scenes that really only last like it's like 5 minutes total of the whole movie. The rest is extremely boring. So it's a no dog for me. I'm never gonna watch this again. Stevie, I'm not angry that you chose this movie. I actually kind of wish you would have chose like Hostel or something, because then it would have been like excitement throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, but those movies are good.
Josh, what's your fan theory?
Yeah, I got something here. So maybe the director is trying to portray like this woman is like the embodiment or like the spirit of like the like Casey Anthony type of people. So like, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen this movie, but it seems like she purposely willed this for her kid to die and is obsessed with like her own sex life, and like it's just, I don't know. Does that make any sense? Does that work on any sort of level?
Yeah.
Like when she's cutting herself at the end, I don't know if you're supposed to interpret it like, oh, she's getting off at the same time. I don't know. It's again, it only lasts like 30 seconds, and then she's basically fine afterwards. So I don't really know how to interpret any of it, Josh.
I'm gonna go with your theory, Josh. I like it.
Jafar, a good guy.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else to say about this movie. I'm probably gonna get fired from my job for recording this, but that was spoilers.
I said the same thing about the Sodom episode.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com.
My wife only saw like a very short snippet at the beginning and was like very unhappy.
Why?
Said she's mad at whoever picked this, but
Why?
but she doesn't like stuff. She's kind of like Josh, kind of like sensitive about like movies.
Stop
and...
calling me sensitive, damn it.
Josh, you are the pod snowflake.
I don't know how else to describe you.
No, I totally forgot about the Eric Clapton part, so I was like, oh, I forgot about this. I don't know why I picked it. And then the only thing I really remembered was his dick getting beat in.
That is pretty memorable, yeah.
Forgot about the scissors. That was awful. Anyway, I'm good to go.
All right, is everybody ready to go? I just want to
Ready.
get this over with. This is
Mikey.
gonna be boring.
It'll be fine. Let's talk about Eric Clapton half the time.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah, you want me to count down?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ooh, mine came up with an error. Wow, I've never seen that one.
Basura.
Weird. Okay. Sorry, y'all.
All good.
Have you guys ever updated your Audacity, or are you still rocking the same one for 2016?
Mine's old.
I think it's just good to go forever. 2016.
Is it going to be like this forever? Ever change that
future
interface?
proof?
I'm ready again.
All right.